Great advice. Stop in and visit them soon. Good morning to you. We are on the road today. We have come to Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center here on Wadsworth. It's 3500 Wadsworth Road is the exact address here in Saginaw. Memorial Day weekend, and it is tradition that we are here at Abley Greenhouse. We'll tell you what's going on here. The other tradition is the other voice you are about to hear, because he has been with us now. We were trying to figure it out. We figured 40-some-odd years we've been doing this.
At least.
At least. That voice belongs to the one and only Ernie Krieger for Ernie Krieger Appliance Service.
You know,
how are you, Ernie?
I'm just fine. I'm trying to figure out, when I grow up, I want to be just like you, but I still want to be tall and have hair.
I don't have to worry about it because you're never going to grow up.
So my wife says.
Well, if you have any questions about major appliances that might need repairing or turned into boat anchors, we've done both, give us a call, 989-752-6111. And as the tradition goes that we've started recently, we reserve 2 hours for Ernie, because I like to punish myself more than just 1 hour a day.
That's why I only do it once a month.
We have been doing this for so long. I mean, let's, maybe it's time we take a minute or two and talk about the history, because we first met back in the 70s, and you were at D'Ambrose.
Yep.
You were the manager of service back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fairly new to Saginaw. I mean, and
you were.
And Gene Riley was the spokesman for D'Ambrose.
Yep, we started with Curtis Mathis TVs.
Curtis Mathis TVs
and
and Amana microwaves.
Big push with the Amana microwaves.
Yeah, and I remember I'd go in there and talk to Gene on the air. He'd say, "Boy, can I put you in a microwave?"
Oh, yeah.
To which I said, "Well, I know I'm small, but I don't think I'd fit."
True. And look at all the cooking shows that we did at D'Ambrose and then at Saginaw Valley.
Yep, and the one leftover recipe became one of the most popular recipes we had. It came from you, as a matter of fact.
Which one?
It had turkey and all kinds of stuff in it. You ended up making a casserole out of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Those were the days.
We had a lot of fun back then.
Yeah, and the appliance business, the service business has changed, because
oh my gosh,
it's not the same game you used to be in, is it?
Nope. I mean, when you think back when VCRs first came out, they were built like a tank. You put your cassette or the cartridge in the top, and then you pushed it down.
Yeah.
And then Gold Star came around, and that changed how industry was. It was a lot smaller machine. You could put it in through the front. I remember going to people's houses working on other things, and you look over to their VCR, and it's always blinking. Nobody could figure out how to put the time of day on.
So let me ask you this. For all the years you've been doing it, and you've been doing this, you've been in the business a long time.
Yep.
How many different refrigerants have you gone through?
Well, in the early days, when I first started in this, and it would have been the late 60s, I worked for a place called Kasner's Refrigeration. And me and Sam, who was the owner, would take off in a truck. And I would go in, would be bars and some residential. And I'd look everything all over, and I'd go back out to Sam, and I'd say, "Sam, this is what it's doing. Evaporator's only got half refrigerant in it, and it's warm." And he'd look at me, and he had Parkinson's, and he'd be stuttering a little bit. He says, "Go back in there, put some gas in it, collect the money, and let's go." Because back then, it was R12.
I was going to say R12 is the number I remember.
And it was very inexpensive.
Yeah.
And back then, you could take some of those old systems, put a line valve on it, put gas in it, make sure the customer understands that, it's going to leak out again. But in some cases, they could go for months. And that gave those people a chance to shop around and see what they wanted. And back then, a top-mount refrigerator, let's say a 16 cubic foot, you could get those for $400 to $450. It was very, very practical as far as the expense. And then in my D'Ambrose days, Jerry and Danny says, we're going to be unique. We're selling a Manna product. We think they're very dependable, so they put a 10-year warranty on them.
Oh, I remember. That's right. Yeah. They took the risk on it.
Well, it wasn't a bad risk for the amount of Manna product that we sold. It was pretty crazy.
And those things lasted. They were right.
And then not only did they
I
say
had one 20 years old I gave away to, I think, Emmaus House. It still worked.
Yeah. And back then, not only did they put a 10-year warranty on it, but they had certificates. Believe it or not, it had my mug shot on it and guaranteed those people for the next 10 years the service call, the trip out, would only cost $15. It was amazing what they did and the amount of product that we sold.
Oh, yeah. It was a busy place. Busy place. And, it's interesting today how the price of a microwave is probably a quarter of what it was back then.
$89.
But it's probably only worth a quarter of what they were back then.
Well, for most people, they still just do warm-ups.
Yeah.
It's when you get into these custom kitchens where everybody wants everything to be, they all got to be the same color, and then they end up putting a above-the-range microwave that's also convection that they never use. In fact, in these $60,000 kitchens, everything looks good. Just don't ask them how to use it.
Yeah, because they never cook at home.
Correct. But it sure does look good.
Well, it looks fabulous. Absolutely. I mean, it's wonderful.
So we went from R12 to 134A, and now we're into butane.
And if you were to judge all of them, is one better than the other?
Environmentally?
Well, environmentally, we know that was the purpose of a lot of it.
Well, R12 was a lot more forgiving as far as if you had contaminants in that refrigeration system. You could actually dump a few ounces in, get it up and running, and then you're good to go. 134, not so much. And the butane, it's still hard to measure because it's been out for maybe 2 years now.
As a refrigerant, it's been around forever, but
yes, but not as a refrigerant.
Yeah.
So, and then when it comes to air conditioners, there's a number of different refrigerants that are out there that replaced R22. And even in automotive refrigeration that had R12, they had another refrigerant that was called MP39 that you could dump into a car. And again, you need to let people know you're adding refrigerant to it because there's a leak somewhere.
That's the only reason you would add, right?
Yes.
And that's true of refrigerators, air conditioners, anything with a compressor system.
Yep.
It's guaranteed if you're low, you're leaking someplace.
Correct. And sometimes to try to find that leak, and then when you do and you look at that component, if it's an air conditioner, chances are there are no functional parts out there for that sealed system. Even though it says, buy this air conditioner, it has 5 years on the sealed system. So in the 4th year, you take it in and you say, okay, I got a warranty on it. You go out and you get in contact with the manufacturer. I need a condenser coil, because those are usually where the leaks are. It's where you have dissimilar metals. You have copper, you have sheet metal, you have all that moisture, and you have aluminum, and it starts to rust, and next thing you know.
So there's no silicone or something you can stick on there to patch it?
No. And then when you go to get a coil for it, well, I'm sorry, it's no longer available. Well, it's got a 5-year warranty. Well, we're just going to refund the customer their money, or we'll send them a new unit. And that's usually what happens. So when you go buy a new product, you really want to pay attention to what the warranty is and what is exactly covered and what's not. Because sometimes they'll tell you, yeah, we got a 10-year warranty on a compressor, but the little secret is you have to pay the trip and the labor to get it fixed.
Yeah, which will cost you.
Yes, it does.
Well, everything costs, though. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. We're chatting with Ernie Krieger. If you have any questions about appliance repair, you can give us a call. 989-752-6111 as we broadcast today from Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center, 3500 Wadsworth in Saginaw. Now, Memorial Day weekend is here. This particular special is tomorrow from 8 to noon, and I'll be here from 8 to 11 tomorrow. This is the Saturday-only geranium sale. 4.5-inch geraniums only $4.79, regularly $5.99. 6-inch stock geraniums only $10.79, regularly $12.99. You must be in line to check out by noon tomorrow. Here at Abley, you can come support the local military families because they take monetary donations all weekend to help the Eyes support the 1% Veteran Food Pantry. And they'll have coffee, donuts, hot dogs, drinks on sale to support it. A great weekend to decorate your yard and decks. Enjoy all the beauty. The hours today till 6 o'clock, tomorrow 8 to 6, Sunday 9 to 5, Memorial Day 9 to 5. Even though it's cloudy, I thought I saw a little sun peek out there for a second.
Of course. It's gorgeous out when you come to think of it. There's no rain. We do have winds that are going to pick up out of the northwest, which might make it a little chilly.
But it's going to warm up this weekend, so we're heading back up again to the normal temperatures. And the plants look fabulous.
The color in here is always
absolutely
awesome.
Gorgeous. So stop on out. Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center here at 3500 Wadsworth in Saginaw. Janet's back. Yes, indeed. So we will take a break and come back with Ernie. If you have any questions about appliance repair, give us a call.
What's the most important part of a
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW with Ernie Krieger from Ernie Krieger Appliance Service in Saginaw, and John is in Bay County. So let's say good morning to John. John, you're on with Ernie. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hi.
Appreciate the gentlemen. Hey, Ernie, I have a question regarding a dehumidifier that will not drain, no longer drain, I should say, through a garden hose, continuous draining.
Yep.
The unit's about 4 years old, and at least once a year I disassemble the unit, clean.
Good.
I think everything. The unit's level, and it still wants to divert all of the water to the bucket, which is frustrating. I took the garden hose off and thoroughly flushed it for several minutes and got out all the gunk, and it's still diverting to the bucket. How would one go about properly cleaning or the clog there's an obvious clog inside the dehumidifier?
Yeah, what brand is it?
It is a Polonus. And it also, Ernie, it does not have the internal pump. It's a gravity fed only.
Gravity fed.
Yeah. Some of the Polonus units have a pump that'll push the water out of the unit into the hose.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, this one does not have that.
So do you have the ability to take the wrapper off of it and run it with the evaporator exposed with the drain trough underneath it? Can you do that?
With the wrapper, is that what you said?
Yeah, the covering.
Can you take the cover off?
Yeah, I should be able to. I mean, it's just a bunch of screws. Yeah, I should be able to do that. Yeah.
So what I would do is that drain trough that's underneath the evaporator is probably out of position. So when that unit's running and that water's dripping down off the evaporator, it's probably hitting the back side of it and ending up going into that bucket. So my thought is if you can. And right now, it's kind of tough with dehumidifiers. We're right borderline on the temperatures. A lot of them might still frost up. Yours might be big enough that it will, get the condensation on the evaporator, and it should start to drip down. If for some reason yours is freezing up, you always have the option of just taking a small amount of water and drizzling it on the very top of the evaporator and watch it go down through the coil and see where it's missing that trough and not going out the adapter for the hose. So you'll have to do that with that cover off of it.
Yeah, I've had that cover off, and unfortunately with this model, I cannot see visually. I can't see where the water's draining. It's concealed.
You should be able to look at that trough. I would.
Yeah.
Where does the water go? The evaporator coil is behind a cover, is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like it's built right in at the factory, like it's either that or it's accessible, and I wasn't see how to remove it. But
then there's no hole at the top where you could put water in. Then you still no.
So what you might want to do is, if you get a measuring cup that usually has a not really a spout, but a
little lip on it.
Yeah, a lip that would allow you to pour water on that evaporator. So I wouldn't be running it. I would just be trying to get some moisture on the evaporator so you can track it down and see where it's going in the wrong direction. I mean, how much gunk was on that hose that you took off?
It was inside there. It was. It looked like the phlegm, for lack of a better term. You know what I'm talking about? The algae. Yeah, it was pretty gnarly.
Sometimes I describe it as snot.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah.
The hose.
I've eliminated that as source. I'm thinking it's plugged at the unit. I can try that again. I do have a defroster built into this, and I should say that we run it year-round, but mainly it's like a fan in the basement for the winter.
Moving air.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question. Where you take the hose off, is there a way to reverse flush?
He could, but what?
Question? Yeah.
But if he does that, it's just going to blow it back up into the evaporator.
But it's liable to dislodge it into smaller pieces that might drain out.
It could. The other thing you can do is get yourself some nice boiling hot water, and again, find a way of getting it into the evaporator so that hot water might break loose the rest of that phlegm or snot that's in there so that it'll flush out. I leave the hose off and let it come right out of the end of the spigot that the hose goes to.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. My other Art was on to my next questions. One of them was, could I push it out with like hooking a garden hose up to it, and I could try that. Or how about a powerful shop vac? I could pull that stuff out.
Yeah, that'd be worth it. The only concern I would have is if you use too much pressure, the fins on the evaporator might start to fold over, and that's going to change how the water comes down the evaporator and into that trough. So I just think you got, like you said, you may just have a lot of gunk that built up inside that trough. Have you tried taking something like pipe cleaners and going inside the adapter the hose goes on to see if you can find any more stuff built up inside that area?
Yeah, but unfortunately I didn't have the right pipe cleaner, but I'm working on that right now as we speak. So
okay.
Yeah,
I'd probably try the hot water. Just thinking what else you could use.
Skinny bottle brush. You get a skinny one that's if it fit inside the hose, it would fit inside the discharge.
Spigot. Yeah. The other thing you could do, if you wanted, you could always make a mixture of bleach and water and follow it up with vinegar and water. Make sure the water is hot when you put it into that evaporator, and then just let it drain out without the hose attached.
Okay. Gave me a lot to go on, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. You're welcome.
Good luck with it.
Have a good holiday.
Thanks for calling. Yep, you bet. Bye-bye now. Saginaw Bay City, 752-6111, toll-free, 866-790-WSGW. Dale, hang on. We'll get to you next. Let me talk about McDonald, Ford, and Freeland for a moment, because you've noticed it's getting harder and harder to find products made in America, and that's true with automobiles, too, to a degree. But with all the uncertainty about tariffs, it's become more important, and McDonald Ford anticipated what was going to happen with the tariffs. So they stock their lot with tariff-free vehicles and have many more en route. Not only are they tariff-free, but Ford is now offering employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay the same price as a Ford employee. In addition, Let's say you're a Chrysler import buyer. Well, consider a Ford and receive the lowest price offered. Chevy truck buyers, how about the F-150, the best-selling pickup in America, also at employee pricing. Now is the right time to visit McDonald Ford M47 in Freeland for the best selection and the lowest possible price. Don't let tariffs prevent you from getting the vehicle of your choice at a price you can afford. Visit McDonald Ford in Freeland today. Remember, tariff-free and employee pricing for everyone. And Ford has now announced that their employee pricing promotion will continue through July 6th. Stop in today at McDonald Ford.
Sumo Sushi.
At Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center at 3500 Wadsworth here in Saginaw with Ernie Krieger from Ernie Krieger Appliance Service on Bay Road in Saginaw. Dale is in Bridgeport. Dale, good morning. You're on with Ernie.
Good morning.
Hi there. What can we do for you?
Well, we brought back it out of old memories. We bought our first microwave from Dambrose.
So did I.
They were just like tanks, weren't they?
Yeah, they weighed a whole lot more than the ones do now.
We're losing you. You're dropping out on us here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we lost you. Start again. Try it again. Not hearing you.
I was just saying that we bought our first microwave from Dambrose.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have it?
No.
Well, you'd be surprised how many people still have that Amana with the drop-down stainless steel door sitting in their corner of their kitchen, still working.
Yeah, ours quit working, I think. At any rate, the reason I'm calling, we have a GE side-by-side.
How old?
About 13 years old.
What's going on?
Well, the ice maker makes ice, but when it swings, that arm that swings out of the way doesn't swing out of the way, and the ice hangs up above. So then it don't make any more ice.
Okay. So when you look at your ice maker, does it go from side to side across the back or from front to back?
It swings from the front to the back.
Okay. And we're talking about that little metal arm that goes up and comes down?
Oh, maybe I got the wrong. My wife says it's a Hot Point, but I thought it was a GE.
They're both the same. GE and Hot Point would be the same. They just put, different titles on the door.
Yeah, arm is plastic.
And so on your ice maker, it's probably got a white piece of plastic that goes out and comes back in, or are you talking about the fingers that go around and pop the cubes out?
No, this is the thing that swings in and swings back and forth.
Tells you if it's full.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's the thing that...
It's looking to see how much cubes you have in the bucket.
Right.
And so you're telling me it's not coming all the way down, it's staying up like it's got a full bucket in it? Is that what you're saying?
No, what it does is this arm swings horizontal.
Okay.
And it doesn't swing out of the way out, or out of the way, far enough for the cubes to drop down into the ice bucket.
Yeah, and there's really no adjustments on that style of an ice maker. What I would tell you to do, and it's not difficult to change it, you probably only have 3 screws that holds it in place, and then there's going to be a quick disconnect or a plug that unplugs the electrical to it. So what you might think about doing is I would probably get the model number of that refrigerator, and you can go online with that model number and bring up what that ice maker is, and you might be able to find a deal out there to be able to replace that. That ice maker usually sells for about $120, but I've seen them as low as 80 in some cases.
I bought one for mine years ago, and it was reasonable.
Yep.
So we've had a lot of problem with that refrigerator. You guys, you had it. One of your servicemen came up and replaced the insulation in the doors, and that didn't work. So then they replaced the doors.
Yeah, they had their issues with the lines freezing up in the door because most of that is foamed, and in some cases putting insulation, like you found, really doesn't solve that issue with the water freezing.
So there you go, Dale. Try and find another ice maker for it. It's your best answer, and they're not that difficult. I could do it. I know you can. All right.
Yeah, but that's because you're so tiny you can fit inside
there. There we go. All right, we got to take a break. Dale, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, have a good weekend.
We're here at Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center. If you have a question for Ernie, of course, 989-752-6111. And let's see, Mark and Rick, hang on. We'll get to you after this note. We are here at Abley's. Tomorrow, the big Memorial Day weekend specials are on from 8 until noon only. Tomorrow only. 4.5-inch geraniums, $4.79, regularly $5.99. 6-inch stock geraniums, only $10.79, regularly $12.99. You must be in line by noon to check out. Also, they'll be supporting the military families with the 1% Veteran Food Pantry all weekend long. They'll have coffee, donuts, hot dogs, and drinks Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And, of course, don't forget to decorate the graves of your loved ones for Memorial Day. They have ready-made pots or everything you need to pot your own. It's a great time. Come on out. Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center, 3500 Wadsworth Road in Saginaw. And they're open today till 6, tomorrow 8 to 6, Sunday 9 to 5, and Monday, Memorial Day, they will be open 9 to 5. It's a big weekend here at Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center. We're going to take a break and be back with more with Ernie Krieger.
Be the hero of your office.
From Ernie Krieger Appliance Service on Bay Road in Saginaw. And let's see, Mark is next in Bay City. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Art and Ernie.
Good morning.
Perfect timing because this was my project of the day. It's been on the list for about 2 years.
Oh,
and
sounds like art.
Samsung, yeah, I've been putting. I have a Samsung refrigerator with a bottom freezer. One problem is there's a plug about eye level in the back of the refrigerator that produces ice, and it drips down the back and in the drawers, and I have to clean it up every couple months. I don't know how to stop that or fix that. I see there's a panel on the back to come off.
Yeah, you're going to find that there's probably an evaporator. Not knowing exactly what model you have, some of the Samsungs will have an evaporator in the refrigerator, and they'll have an evaporator down in the freezer compartment. So if you expose,
the model number, if that helps.
Not really. You'll know when you take that back panel off. You're going to see a set of coils, and below that you're going to see a trough, and it's possible that trough may have rusted out on you. How old did you say your unit is?
I thought I bought it 10 years ago, but I'm looking at I'm standing in front of it. 2013 was the manufacture date, so I probably bought it 14, maybe
12
15.
years old.
Yeah, so you're going to probably find that drain trough that's underneath the evaporator is going to probably have some issues. And instead of trying to go out and find another trough to put in there, what you may want to do is get yourself some heavy-duty aluminum foil. And then in the heating industry, they have an aluminum tape that you can get. And what you're going to do is you're going to reline that that evaporator drain trough so that you don't have to replace it. So between the aluminum